try to spread these dots. Padera, 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 padera. Could you have deep blue? It will be like a padera, padera. If it's already okay, got blue, just a monica. I don't got light, okay? That's bitmap. Picture, you have seen it before. Kakabisha kakagono, mukagabaga shrink, kaboneka clear one bit, right? Mukagabaga expand, iboneka poor quality, right? Because it's made up of dots. So dots, the more the dots, the clearer the picture would be. Meaning, the HD picture. What it means, it must is a camera that is able to capture more dots, right? To have so many dots in it that to put it in the image, right? To the extent that when you expand it, it still look clearer, right? So that's what it means. While vector it uses lines, it doesn't use dots. And how to know differences between vector and the bitmap? If you have found an image, any image, you're going to enlarge, you can lose quality. Just know it's a bitmap. Any. If you can find an image, when you enlarge it, it doesn't lose quality. That's vector. What is examples of vector? These characters, these are characters. In graphics, our small words here. In graphics, these are characters, right? So if these are characters in graphics, it's like an image, right? Have we ever tried to enlarge a word to office? Because quality. Black, black gray. Have you ever said that? Try to do it. You will never. I can try to enlarge this text. Tabaka times 1000. They will be bigger, but they will look the same. They will have the same black. So the images are created by the computer. I created using computers like graphics, not photographs. Those pictures are the ones that are called vector images, right? And there's a different vector images. You can use them for large publications, for my designs, for my adverts. But if you want to show something the way it look like an image, you use the bitmaps. So that's just a knowledge for you to know that if you are working with graphics in the multimedia, you should have that knowledge. Meaning, if you want to say, I want to have picture, you would design a display up. Then you cannot take a small picture. When you take a very small picture with small pixels, when you enlarge it, it's not poor. So you need to take a little bit picture, much more pixels, right? I think you see pixels. I take one picture. You have 3 KB, 15 KB. Those are small. Larger ones, you find them on 200, 300, 400, and 1 MB upwards. Then you can enlarge them. And some of them, when you just place them, it's like okay. I think we talked about even the television. They would say HD. In the images, they talk about the high resolution pictures, the images. So it's the same. Here, all the same images. Just talking about they can be like some of the vector images could be drawn using different softwares, could also be edited using different softwares. If you want to manipulate them, there are examples of softwares like GIMP, there's the Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop, and others, right? So you also there are ways whereby you can capture like bitmaps. You can make them be in electronic form, right? Like a bitmap, you could use a camera. What you do when you take your camera and take a picture, you are making a bitmap image, right? So you could use that one to put it in a computer. You could use a scanner, right? While vector graphics usually are drawn. If you are going to draw something using a computer, you are drawing a line, you're drawing a triangle. Those are vector graphics, right? So I think that's all about. Then you have image formats. There are some other different formats there. Image formats, they are different because you have seen before. Sometimes you could already flash pictures kuma sakuoneka. You saw about the formats, right? There are some other formats that are compatible in different way. One of the very common format that is compatible with most of the computers is a JPEG. I think you see when you have a JPEG image, almost the computer iliyo sema oneka. Sometimes when image is oneka, when you convert it into JPEG, image is oneka. So the JPEG is a bitmap image. The only problem of JPEG, they can lose quality easily, right? Wherever guy enlarge JPEG, imoneka poor, right? But it is compatible, and by internet it's easier. The mass pictures are many abasegula pakisa is internet it's faster, right? Wow. GIF, you already know them. Tima memes, do not memes, but I think tima GIF map use tata ma characters osina. You have image ya somebody, you go must be 30 seconds. Can Mr. Bean go paga away from you? Those are GIFs. Meaning GIF the image komano in the capability of animation, right? You matter with all these images, they are different because they have got different capabilities, right? So you have got the PNG format, you have got some they are good for the internet, some they are good for people who are doing graphics. Most of the images that are good for people doing graphics are bigger files, right? But they cannot open in so many computers. You need to convert them. But since you are doing graphics, you need original formats. So these are examples that I was just talking about. Then you have got audio, and in general, audio, you know that there are two types of formats of audio. You have got the analog audio, you have got the digital audio, right? And we used to have in Malawi like analog radio. I'm paper one bit, right? Digital it's completely, eliminated noise, right? That's a digital one, right? So that's why I say digital audio refers to the reproduction of and transmission of sound stored in a digital format, right? So if it's stored in an analog materials, it's not digital, right? Like you can example, you have seen zimalekoni zagalezich. Zimalekoni zogudino zanyimbo, those are analog storage. CD, my flash disk, those are digital formats, right? So that's what the audio. So I'm just saying, you are going to decide. You have to have this knowledge. So, okay, I'm using audio. So you should know, okay, what's the difference between these two types, right? Audio and analog and digital. So you should be able to choose a best type, because the analog, digital in terms of clarity, digital is the best, right? Right? Analog, maybe the texture, right? The texture, if I can keep a certain type of texture, right, which is different. The same sound, this is a little bit detailed. Two many characteristics of sound, frequency and amplitude, right? And frequency is a number of cycles a sound wave was created in a second, in 1 second. And then the standard measurement of frequency is hertz. That's why radio chakuchaku megahertz. I can know this. It's all about frequency, right? And then the loudness of the sound, right? Which is to do something with amplitude. The unit that is used to measure loudness is called decibel, right? They just put dB. So that's about sound. I think if you go to electronics, whatever that audio, you encounter that, right? So in terms of audio formats, you have got MP3, you have got my waves, you have got sound type. Well, these are formats, Windows media formats. And these audio formats are usually differentiated into two. They say some they are called lossy, some others are called lossless, right? When they say lossy, like MP3, you can also have lossless and lossy. Loss, when you have wave, it's an original format, right? If you record something original without changing it, it's a kind of wave, right? It's a bigger file. If you compress it, you create an MP3, which is a compression form. So when you compress something, usually they lose quality, right? So you have got a certain type of compression whereby quality is maintained. So in audio, you can have a compilation which is lossy, which is it will lose quality. There are also other formats which will not lose quality. For example, if you, I do believe you listen to music, right? You have some music. You will notice that currently, when you have MP3, about makala 3 MB, 12 MB. If you have noticed now, you discover MB makala 8, 9, 12, 15. The reason is these formats, which is the 320 kbps, they are lossless formats. What did they do is, I think you have seen it for time, album, about 320 that is a format yokuti, it doesn't lose quality. If you can have original file, take a CD original, we have original, then they would go up like MP3. The quality will make the same. Some of the smallest MP3 quality must. Some of these formats are must quality. The difference would be when you play them, some of them will be compatible into other media players. Some will, for example, Windows Media. Windows Media, some of the files they don't play. Maybe you have said that. The same file upaka play the Windows Media siku sekule, uteka VLC upaka play siku sekule, right? So it means the format of Windows Media, this Windows Media audio is specific for Windows Media platform. This is, so you have got all this, right? You have got the MIDI, so that's the audio. So it's just I knowledge that since you are going to be using audio, you should not just use it anyhow. Before to find the audio, without knowing what the gadget that you have will not play that format. So you should know, okay, different use radio, I mean the media, use a media player, okay, format media it, something like that. Then you're going to use the video, also video technology. You have all these, the use of video and the advantages already. You can think about it because it's video. And you have also element of multimedia already in this one, right? Because the video uses radio, I mean, a number of audio and the sound. So you usually you think of the better way of using this platform, format. If here talk about the learning, like example here talk about the e-learning, right? You know nowadays e-learning, one of the major tool that it uses nowadays is this one, right? Just go on YouTube, ugabele vile my websites amabanga e-learning, most of them even here, what we are doing here, this is a video, recording video, right? So usually they will take this audio, this video, they'll put it online, right? So people who are learning online, they'll be benefiting from it. So you see that the video, I mean, nowadays in terms of education, especially people who are doing e-learning, it helps them realistically to demonstrate equipment, to do, like for example here, if I'm talking about something, I could be able to demonstrate here, they could be able to see. I want to explain rather than just listening to the audio, right? So we have that, and also you have got different formats of video again, which would depend on the compatibility of the different formula. Then you have text. Again, text is just obvious there, whereby you also have different formats of text. And maybe we have to say, talk about on the internet, maybe we forgot about it. That's the difference between like on newspaper, which is you have got text. On the internet, you have got what is called the hypertext, right? And some say, okay, why do you say hypertext? Have you ever been on the internet and it start opening pages physically? Page 1, page 2. What you do, just click somewhere, isn't it? It's a matter of clicking. So what it does is it uses the same text, but the text that you click, whereby you click and it will take you to a certain location. That is what is called hypertext. The text that is more or less like a jump. They will jump from one place to take you to another place. So in the text, hypertext is one of them, right? And Then you will use the other formats again. There is PostScript, there's HTML format, there's PDF, and other formats, right? And text, but I mean, we cannot even try to say what is the importance of text in communication, right? Text does a lot, right? I mean, you think about a communication where there is no text, right? Radio, maybe that's the only one that we know that is common, right? Non-verbal communication, right? But if you think about like what we're doing here, there's text, what you see on the billboards, text, what you see on television, also there's text, right? But you see, but also text, they have to write. Eh? They have to write, just so they have to put all this text is doing a lot. Then you have got animation, again, as we talked about as a multimedia. And it didn't help. But I think this one you have seen people who have utilized this. I think it's TNM, right? They created their own character, animated character for advertisement. Eh? I don't know what they call it, right? But even Airtel again, and Mr. Mandiga, whatever, that's animation, right? So animation, you can have 2-dimensional animation or 3-dimension, right? 3D or 2D animation. So it will depend on what you want your lesson, right? Because you would have a lesson whereby you need to show of inside perspective, right? Because the 3-dimension, you use perspective, right? For people who who have done maybe art, you know that you have seen it before. You have seen before. I think everybody have watched it before. Tom and Jerry, right? You see, okay, they have completely rocked this place up, right? And I've rocked myself up here again. Right, so we have seen Tom and Jerry. This is the 2-dimension, right? 2-dimension. It means if there is a person, you are going to see a person like this, right? It's going to be a person like this. And the man song got ka. This is 2-dimension, right? Whatever. And if it's going to be portrayed of this, whereby there's no depth, it's 2-dimension. The same 2-dimension like this one, if I can do this, if I can add something here, and you color door, bring it here, bring it here. You color roof, color window, so window color it sebo, right? Then color my steps, here steps, and this is the floor. Right? You see, this is now becoming 3-dimensional, like, because I could see Balima wall, Pansy, Uku, and if it's a box, if it's a triangle like this, 2-dimension, triangle like this, you could say 1, 2, 3, or maybe you put it like this, triangle. No wonder people they do ask, how many sides do you have on a triangle? I mean, this could be fancy, side inner. Yeah, but we know 3-dimension. It means if you can have something that you want to show, of course, then you have to use 3D, right? If it's just a matter of you just want to show side, I mean, like this is good for outline. Outline 3-dimension is for details, right? So if you say I would like to teach using animation that will express something on one side. Okay, if you want to the animation, I think you have got example nowadays whereby you have this you watch an animation 3D animation movies nowadays. I don't know if 2D animations are being made nowadays. Shrek, all these whatever Pixar, I mean the Pixar animation, DreamWorks, they are all 3D animations, right? You could go inside, you could go around something. So it's all about animation. And the usual animation is more or less like it's like images, images that are now are being placed on all sides, right? And also animation have got formats that could be compatible, right, into different softwares. You have software like a Dreamweaver, Flash, used in this aspect. Right, so these are some other hardwares that you use in this. I don't know what's the time. I think time is, I can't believe that time is flying like this. So almost up. Okay, quickly, let me just end up. I will stop where I'm going to stop because the time is almost up. These multimedia formats, I mean the formats can be edited. Since you're going to do your own, have your own class, you need to more or less like adjust them or maybe change one or two elements. So you have got like text there, softwares like Microsoft Word, Open Office Writer, graphics. You're talking about Adobe Photoshop, CorelDRAW. You have got Adobe Illustrator. You've got InDesign, audio. You have got sound recorder. I think there's so many of them. Animation. You've got all these. My Flash and all what you can see. Right. And also in terms of videos, this is just talking about the video images. When it comes to video, whereby you have to, and it's all about the knowledge. You have to capture. If you have got a video material that is in a tape, usually you have to transfer the material using what is called a firewire to put it in a computer. If you have got them maybe in a digital form, then you have to use a flash to put it in a computer, then it transfers the material into a computer. Camera is the same. For the audio,
basically
you have got microphones, you have got sound cards. These are, some of them are what are called input devices, right? Input devices are all those devices that are going to take the inside the computer. Output devices are those that are going to take outside materials from the computer outside. For example, if you use a printer is an output device. You're taking something from the computer. If you burn a CD, output device. If you take a microphone, input device. You're putting inside anything that is going to be sound card for the sound to be recognized, you use that. Right. Okay. Think about time is what did I say? What do you use? I think I'll share this. The next was our multimedia system. Multimedia system. So which is our last class? Is it okay? So I think some of these we can finalize next week. Because I don't know, let me see.
Drama ya bandu alinayo alibe. Yo diara zimba kama chimanga mjeta alibe.
I've got a few maybe the important element I want to talk about is here. Stages of multimedia application. If you want to develop a multimedia product, some of the stages, right? So we'll talk about it.
Addressing the issue of throughput. Then you get your 300 up there.
Yeah.
So rapid evaluation is something which informs you about the likely.
Right. Okay. So I think in the meantime
that can occur, and
we can stop there. I was not so sure about the last day.
Will disturb your output
because in my head
so put some measures in between. What do we do?
Okay. The date is
6,000 per check a month for bundle yao because was a paper Sio Mungu pasa kulibwanja ndibino kwa simu kuzana. Sio yeka basi ndibugane msefura namba yanga 099 chakuti yo shaka namba nanga si you want to flash ndicha flash yeso yafika kuti asu mazuru hai ndafika bwino muri bwaje kwa mabandro ndilibe basi ngozi ya mdika. Okay, thank you very much. Next week we wind up and see